Okay, so here I'm going to say child container, and there's going to be a child of text. Text is going to be Ovid's movie /n browser. My slash and my quotes are in different places between my two laptops, so I was looking for the slash. Style is going to be text style. I'm not going to bother pulling out the styles. Again, in a big project I would, but we're not going to have that many styles here. And this particular one I'm only going to use here anyway. Font size is going to be, I think I use 32. Actually, the font size doesn't have to be exact. I cannot remember how to format code. There we go. Okay. So that's fine. Now for the alignments, I'm going to use alignment.bottom center. So this thing, I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Now, as for the middle container, that had a height of, see? Approximately 150. I can't remember exactly. Okay, so let's give this a height. This container is going to have the padding as well. So in total, it's about 150, maybe 160, 170, something like that. Let's try 160. And we're going to give this a child. Well, first let's give it an alignment of alignment.center. And a child. I'm also going to give this a width, because that's going to constrain the text form. And I'm going to give this a width of media query .of context .size .width times 0.9. So you guys are seeing I'm not using the exact numbers I used in my design. That's why I said it's really just for reference. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just kind of to give me an idea. If I don't have that idea, then for me personally, writing this code is just going to take so much longer. And yeah, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, and the child is going to be a text form field, or I could also use text field. And the controller we're going to do next time. It's going to come from the state. For now, let's just do the decoration. Decoration is going to be input decoration. And input decoration has a lot of things. Let me pull up an example so I again don't take up too much time making mistakes, because I guarantee you I'm going to make mistakes here. I'm trying to remember. I made something similar to what I want somewhere. I'm trying to remember where. Okay. I believe it's this one. So I'm going to give it a prefix icon of const icon icons.search. The size, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. In the XD design, we left the size the same, so that would be 24, which is the default of the SVG icons. But normally I found that that looks a little bit too big, so I'm going to make it a bit smaller. And then, is that going to be it? Let's see, is dense. I'm going to set this to true. what isDense is going to do is give me a lot more control over the padding. You guys know the text form fields, and the text fields by default have quite a lot of padding, and yeah, especially on the vertical axis, and it's quite difficult to make it look the way you want it to look. The isDense basically tells Flutter, get rid of that vertical padding and let me, the coder, decide exactly how much padding I want it to have. So yeah, and because I have the isDense, I can give it a content padding. You can also give it a content padding without isDense, but then it's not always going to listen to what you want. It's not always going to look the way you expect it to look. So I would highly recommend using isDense if you plan on changing the padding. So that's all symmetric actually. And I'm going to give it horizontal of 20 and vertical of say 15. Okay. I'm going to give it a border of, so with the text form fields, we can either have the border everywhere or just underlined. I think in most of our apps we've used the underlined one, but here we're using the outline one. So that's outline input border. Like this. And I'm going to give it a border radius dot circular, and for this number, so let me just double check my design. In my design I had it fully rounded, so the thing about that is I need to know exactly how it would help kind of to know exactly how big my container is, my text form is, so I know how much rounding I need. However, if I go over that number, it's not going to make a difference, right? Because I'm doing it on all the sides. It's not going to make a difference if I go over the number. So I'm just going to choose 30, which I'm pretty sure is more than I need. And as a result, it's going to give me exactly what I expect. I think. I could be wrong. We might look at it and decide it does not do what I want it to do. And why is this giving me a error? Outline input border. Oh, because I misspelled him. Like that. Okay. So this should be fine. And then for this one. So I'm going to give this a child of default button, which doesn't exist. Are we actually going to use this button in other places, or is it going to be just here? It's probably going to be just here, isn't it? So there's no point pulling it out. In that case, I'm going to give it a child of container. And the container is going to have a width of 175, for example. And then, is that the same height? It's going to be too big then. 150. And I'm going to give this a child of flat button. The reason I'm wrapping the flat button in a container is if I do not wrap it in a container with a width, the flat button will end up taking the it's going to end up taking the entire width, and that's not how I want it to look. So yep, on pressed. For now it's not going to do anything, but later on we're going to give it a navigation thing. So navigating to search results, like that. Color is going to be my colors primary. And I don't think we've imported that. Okay, and what is it missing? Parameter child. Okay, child's going to be a text. Text is going to say search, and the style of this is going to be text style, whose color is going to be colors.white, and font size is going to be 16. but we might decide that doesn't look how we want it to look. Okay, so let's go ahead and try running this, but it might not look exactly how we expect. Flutter run /d Chrome. The reason I'm doing /d Chrome is to open it up in Chrome so that we don't have to wait for my emulator to load, because I find it to be quite slow. And this gave me an error because I forgot to import the home screen. Why is this giving me an error now? I'm definitely doing this wrong. There we go. Let's try again. Flutter run /d Chrome. If you guys don't have access to /d Chrome, the reason you don't is because you don't have the beta channel open. I'll show you guys how to do that next time. So on my colors, I have a bug here. And do that once again. I'm going to go ahead and just use up. So this thing has just come up, and you can see how it looks. It's not quite what we had in mind, is it? I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see it alongside us. So I remembered to give my my button the width to not make it too large, but I didn't give it a height, so you're seeing exactly what I'm talking about. Right, it's stretched all the way to fill all that size. So we're going to give this a height of 100. This is going to be too big. 50. I'm going to wrap this in another container. Why can I not see container? Container. Who is going to have a child of this container. And there might be an easier way of doing this, but this is just how I'm doing it. Almost always you have more than one way of doing something. I'm going to give this an alignment of alignments.top center, like that. Try again. Okay, so now that looks a bit better. Font weight, it's much too skinny. Font weight of font weight dot bold. Try again. Okay. I think it's too big still. And I think this takes shape there. Okay. This has a shape which takes a, I always forget the property of this, shape border, rounded rectangle, I think. Border, maybe? Okay. And this is going to take border radius of border radius dot circular 30. Okay. Try again, refresh it. Hopefully it doesn't crash. And there we go. So now we can see it has that nice rounding the way I want it. Now, for me, I think it's perfectly fine if I just leave it on 30. But if we want to be more exact, we can lower it to 25. Because the height is 50, I should have been able to do it in my mind straight away and know that 25 is the correct one. But I didn't calculate it. So that's fine. Doesn't matter. Then going back to this, I think this is a bit too thin now. I want it to be taller. So I'm going to give this a... I'm going to increase the text size here. And I forget exactly how to do that. There are so many properties. In style. It's going to be one of the ones marked with text style. suffix, counter, prefix, error. I can find all of them except for the one I want. Okay, so from the top, I'm looking for the text style of the actual text inside. Text style, label style, it's not what I want. Helper style, hint style, prefix, suffix, counter. Yeah, there are too many here. Import, I might be looking at the wrong one. It might be in the text form field instead. Function, function, function. Text input action. I'm gonna Google this because I completely forgot. So, Flutter, text form field, input style, input text style. I could have just given it style apparently. Sometimes the most obvious answers are the correct ones. But I didn't even think of doing this. Text style, give this a font size of 16, and that's going to be enough. Let's see, that's going to be the same size as this. So the padding is too small, I'm going to make this 16. In fact, I'm just going to try 20. How does this look? I think it's... okay, so if we were searching for something, we'd search for example, Star Wars, like that. Maybe I expect it to be bold. Font weight up bold. Okay, but then it's going to look strange if this is bold, but my title isn't bold. So here I'm going to say font weight up bold, like that. And I'm going to give this an alignment. Text align doesn't go in the style, it goes outside of text align dot center, like that. Okay. And then this background gradient, I wanted to make it more interesting, so I put it kind of like on the slope. But when I actually see it, I think it looks kind of weird. I don't like it. So I'm going to do instead is just say top center and bottom center, like this. Okay. It's fine. It looks okay. It doesn't look amazing, it doesn't look great, but I think it looks good enough. What I'm actually going to do is make this... In fact, I think I'll just leave it. No, I'm going to make the height of this container a bit bigger, 200. And I'm going to make it a bit more narrow, 85.85. And I think now it looks much better. The iPhone screen is quite long, kind of like this. Most Android phones are a bit more narrow like this. And this looks exactly how we designed it, exactly what we wanted it to look like. So that's great. Okay, guys, so we're going to end this video here. In the next video, we're going to look at, I'm not sure, we might look at, I'm not sure what we should do next. Maybe we'll start looking at the actual network calls and how to get that data, so then we can decide what to do with it. yeah, we'll see. I haven't decided yet. Okay, but that is it for this video. So myself, videos, I'm gonna head out. Take care, guys.